Hello, greetings. This is Gilles. I wanted to say hello, wish you a good day for we're going through this very shifting time. And I was going to discuss the ideas, all those ins and outs of this present situation. But there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are already informing about the fact that we need to preserve this right to live, this right to be free and to pursue happiness. And a lot of those systems right now are seeking to deprive us from that. For it's like. We know we do not want their tracking system, we do not want their vaccination, we do not want their 5G. All of that is part of a darker plans, those plans that we call the Black Alliance, the Dark Cabal, the Illuminatis, the deep states. For all of this will come to the surface and will be revealed to the whole of humanity, and that's going to create a shock that is beyond what we can think, because it's going to be like Saw will be running through the streets, it's going to stink, it's going to be a lot of people will not even be able to accept it when they're going to see it, because they're worshipping all those. So a lot of people that are very famous and wealthy in society, and they're the celebrities and so on, when they're going to be revealed what they've been doing, they're going to be arrested, and everything's going to be exposed. It's going to be really a big shock. So the essence is to find this clarity. You have to be discerning to create this field of energy that shields you, and to remain serene, to remain in the love and the compassion and the forgiveness. It's going to be important to show that examples, because every soul, even the darkest one, they're also trying to do what they believe is the right thing for them to do. And everybody has to face its own creation. It's the law of cause and effect. So somebody who's been doing a lot of dark things will have to face through the feeling states all of the darkness that they have been created. So we do not, and they've done so many dark things. They're gonna have to go through a process that nobody could envy them. So it's about understanding because the barbary and the tyranny is being really we're reaching the apex of that. It's also to be very careful with energies that come from TV and the internet. There is so many subliminal energies that are fear-based, that is been broadcasted. Whenever you feel something, no matter what has been said on the surface, if you feel like this very negative energy in your stomach, just turn it off and move on to something else, to use your discernment. And so for there is a great deal of higher light as well that's been infused. It is important to stay calm, to stay at peace, to stay optimistic, to visualize, to dream a future that is ideal for you. What is it you really want? And this will come. For right now, every time we go to sleep, we are recharging ourselves, we are healing ourselves, so that we can be strong and return into this matrix for continuing our service here. And so for this whole thing is they make a big deal about this coronavirus, but they don't realize. But they don't realize. They do realize, but they don't. There is more people dying from malnutrition or suicides every day than all of those combined, and that they have a power to act upon that. It's not like they don't have a power. It's just they don't have the political will, because all of that is, come to realize, a big deceptions. And all this truth is going to come out, and so it's important to stay loving, to stay compassionate, forgiving. Because the more we become enlightened, the more we are able to see this corruption and this deception and those manipulation, and to understand there is light forces that are everywhere. They have landed on the planet. They're all, whether it's angelic or galactic, and they are waiting for their time that this darkness will be expurged, so that so they can come into play, and they can. For it's really important to know that right now there is a great deal of chaos, but we're going to realize that it is the time of the apocalypse, the revelation, and it's going to last it's going to end up at the last judgment, where we're going to find true justice, true peace, and true freedom for all. For that is really what the point is, to expurge all those mechanisms of control. And so there is a lot of DNA activation right now, where we are being reactivated with all those memories from galactic planes. Remember life on Arcturus, life in the Pleiades, life in Sirius, and countless other places, and even throughout time. In terms of model of societies, we're living in an oligarcho-plutocracy, which is somewhat of an Aristotle model that's been kind of Babylonian originally it was Babylonian, but oligarchy means control by a very, very few, and plutocracy based on power, on the power of money. For money is wonderful. There is nothing wrong about money, but it's when money is used as a tool of creation for your highest good and for the highest good of all, it is fine. But when it is used to control and oppress and enslave people, there is a right and wrong use of money in the relative sense of things. So this oligarcho-plutocracy, Plato did not even want it in this book. I recommend The Republic of Plato. It's studying all the models of all the models of society, and Socrates and the other philosophers are discussing the timocracy, the research of fame and glory, the oligarchy, the aristocracy. They're discussing the democracy, the republic, and realizing the tyranny is the worst of all. Tyrannies are the worst of all. But democracy seems to be the best, when actually the book is called The Republic, it's not called the democracy, because in Plato's vision, for this book has been criticized, yet I do believe there's great wisdom in it, is that for him the republic is the king philosopher, may the wisest rule us all, may the wisest people should be put in power. For the difference between republic and democracy is that republic is like republic is a meritocracy, when democracy is like everybody, you put anyone on the random because everybody's got the same right to rules. We pick somebody at random and we put him there. And so democracy could also become tyranny. For Socrates demonstrate that democracy can become anything. But it is still the highest form of government once the people are enlightened. But at the time of Socrates, there was what's his name, Pericles, who was the powerful man. They were trying to do this democracy, but it didn't really work because the people were very manipulable. And so we want to find a balance between republic and democracy. But in essence, this society has evolved since then. In 1989, in France, there was this Declaration of the Human Rights, as every man is born free and equal in rights. And so we eventually will come to realize that and make it manifest, just as in France we have liberty, equality, and fraternity, which will eventually be realized as well and manifested in America. Then the original creator of the Constitution, we have the right of life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness was added by Saint-Germain, so it was quite wise to say that the right to pursue happiness was a fundamental right. And so we do have to refuse the test, refuse the vaccine, refuse the tracking system, and protect your children, because in a democracy, they won't be able to force that on the people, but they may utilize that to force it on the children, and children needs to be protected against those control mechanisms, as those vaccines will have like nanoparticles that will respond to 5G energies, that will make people completely insane and deprive them of their freedom. But I'm not here to talk about all this dark thing but the truth will be known, so the darkness will be expurged, and we're going to move into a new era of peace, joy, abundance, and freedom. So it's this dawning for all of humanity, this golden age. And at the time of the judgment, there will be a separation of timeline. Those who are moving into this paradise timeline, and those who will stay for a very long time in this dark illusion of chaos and confusion. For it is all part of personal choice, and we have to trust the wisdom of God. God knows us, for God is us. So when God punishes a soul, it punishes himself also. He has to feel the whole punishment, but he sees the need of evolution. So whether it's reward or punishment, it is part of the wisdom that we experience that. And so to stay neutral as much as possible, to be a neutral observer, and yet to inform people of their sovereign right to maintain that freedom. And so I'm going to sing a song that is a revolutionary song also. I'm going to comment on the paintings behind me. The highest wisdom is here and now. To be here and now, to as much as possible, to breathe in and out, breathing, to hold the breath, empty out the lung. We have to breathe more consciously, to do it 3 times, for there is the infinite breath, and when the energy flows in the 8th form, and then we can send it backwards, and it makes an 8th form, and to connect to this energy of the 8. But breathing is essential. We have to learn to breathe more consciously and empty out the lungs, because it's the carbon monoxide at the bottom of our lungs that creates the stress. So we're going to remove the stress, and whenever there is a situation where you feel emotionally that is not, you don't feel total clarity because you're being moved emotionally, take those 3 breaths that will allow you to center, and to be here and now, for time will eventually disappear. What we need to understand is all that shines. It is all this masquerade. People are wearing masks. It's like also the understanding that we may come up and down in terms of moods. It's also all that shines. It's the appearance of things, all that is new, that can be shining, that can be attractive. But we want to see behind the veil, behind the facade, and to drop the mask, to be ourselves, or even if people, but once we become ourselves, we can see behind the mask, that we see the mask that people are wearing as well. For this probably will stay in history as the big masquerade of 2020. What we need to do is the exchange of gift. It is this beautiful. It's understanding the trading of life. Everything is trading energies in life. It's a give and take. It's understanding the value of this give and take, of this sharing of energy, and to be able to receive and to give. To give is the same thing as to receive, and to receive is to allow yourself to give and receive, to be in the flow of energy. And the outcome is yin. It's the power to allow things to come to you as a flow, not to have to strive towards it, but to be in a receptive mode in order to receive the everything you've been asking for in grace and ease, in a natural, in a divine timing. Because when it's not the time, then God refuses. Sometimes we want things to happen, but it's not the time. So God says, it doesn't say no, but it does not happen, because time and space are separated. But we'll find ways to bridge that when we become more enlightened, more aware of who we are. For we already are spiritual beings. We're not going to become spiritual beings. We always have been, always will be. And so it is just a matter of removing all these layers of conditioning. That is, I want to speak about physics as well. I spoke of that in my French video. For Physics Spirit is asking me to talk about this. I thought it very important to find a way to prove or to demonstrate that this series of Georges Lemaitre, this series of the Big Bang, because he observed that the galaxies are expanding at a very fast rate. And so he concluded that everything started from a single point and exploded. But as we have to breathe, it's a natural fact. So as we breathe in and out, we can see the Earth is breathing also through the clouds and winds. But the whole universe is breathing in and out as well. And so right now we are at the end of the final step of the expansion, of the breathing out of the cosmos. So it's very accelerated in the expansion. And at some point in about 1,000 years, we're very, very close, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years, very close, cosmically speaking, it's not that long. We're going to move into the point where we're going to observe that the galaxies stop expanding. And this is going to be a magical time for all those who are able to utilize that. And then we're going to start to see that the galaxy is starting to contract. And then it's going to contract faster and faster and faster. For 2 billion years, they're going to be contracting. And we're going to feel like they're all going to crash into each other. But they won't, actually. It's just because God knows what he's doing. God does not play dice with the universe. He knows all things. And then at some point, he's going to stop expanding and he's going to restart start contracting. He's going to start expanding. It has been revealed that there are space reservoirs above and below paradise, which is represented here. When space expands, the reservoir contracts, and when the reservoir expands, space contract. So they work in synchronicity. Nobody really knows except God. Even the paradise citizens do not know what's inside the reservoir, what their future function. Or they just know that when they contract, the space expands, and when they are phase of expansion, the universe contracts. And so but this will be difficult to prove and also. There is a subject that Albert Einstein was trying to prove is the series of the whole. For we observing physics is the understanding of what a molecular the behavior of molecule, the physical world around us. And so, but we also know that when we look into the subatomic particles, what we call quantum physics, there is a completely different physics. The laws of life seems to appear to work very, very differently. And it's the same thing when we look at the cosmos, as what we call astrophysics. The laws of physics, of quantum, of material physics, the behavior is completely, there has never been an equation that has been able to assemble those three series, quantum physics, physics, and astrophysics. So this will be interesting to bring it all into one whole, to understand there is only one law. It's just it operates differently on different level of creation, and so those would be interesting. Another thing that would be interesting to prove, I was talking about the 0 point where we live in a magnetic universe. We live in a magnetic universe, a dark matter universe. At 0 point, the matter and antimatter emerge eternally from there, which creates this whole reality that we're always experiencing. And so the 0 point will be very important to prove, because it will give us access to unlimited energy that will be this is really what we'll be using after the ascension. Another thing that would be interesting is to demonstrate, to find ways to demonstrate the power of anti-gravity. For we know gravity is one of the facts of science, and we know we cannot deny gravity. We are held in gravity on the planet. The atoms are held in, the electrons are held in gravity around the proton. The planets are held in gravity around the stars. But there is this function within spirit that is anti-gravity, which once we know that, we won't have to utilize the fuel to send a ship into orbit. We'll just get reverse the polarity of the gravity, and we'll automatically be lifted up. So those were some things that will be interesting. I might write a little book to express those new series and then find a way to demonstrate it in time. Well, I hope this was interesting for you. Comment on this painting is the third or fourth painting I did on that subject. There is an invisible universe. This is eternally invisible, but it is that's centered around paradise, the 21 satellite of paradise, and it's called Avona. It's the central universe. It's an eternal, ultimate universe that always has been. It's always been there. It's perfect. There is 1 billion perfect world, huge planets with perfect inhabitants, and for eternity, that was all there was. And one day the universe was created. This point of creation of the 7th super universe on the first ring outside of paradise for our own universe is located in the 7th super universe, the Milky Way galaxy. And but this like we're talking about billions of trillions of years. It's far more ancient. That it's very young in relationship to what it will become. The universe is just a baby, but it's still. And then there is other rings that are created, that have been created, that is completely, well, we can see in our telescopes galactic clusters that are utterly beyond in terms of size, that beyond our conception. Those are the first and the beginning of the second level of outer space. There will be 4 levels of outer space. But in essence, all of the paradise is the only stable place, the only non-moving cosmic body of reality, and everything moves in relationship to paradise. The 21 satellites of paradise and the central universe move clockwise. Then there is 2 levels of dark gravity body. The first one goes counterclockwise, and the other one goes clockwise. And those dark gravity bodies shields the central universe. You will never be able to penetrate it or see it from the outer space. It's only you need to access it through the central sphere of the super universe. And then the 7th super universe goes counterclockwise, when the first level of outer space goes clockwise around paradise, and then the second level goes counterclockwise. And the rings, as the ring goes, they become bigger and thicker. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger the further we go. And there is a quintessential zone that separates all the levels, zone where there is nothing that is happening. And as the energy mobilization of the galaxies are mobilizing, are becoming organized and manifested physically. Those the zone of quittances are becoming eroded. They're becoming smaller. There's all kinds of things that we're going to be discovering, and I'm looking forward to going back into discussing that. And here it's And so there is much to learn, but everything what we seek, the truth that we seek, we have to seek it within our heart. It's very important to know that all the information we need is already being held by Spirit. And so, and yet it reveals only when we're ready to. And so this is a painting about the I Ching. It's a very ancient book of wisdom. It's based on them. It was made from Fuxi, the first 10,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago. He discovered the trigram. Then trigram get organized into hexagram, 6 lines. And this represents the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. It's a book of wisdom, of oracle, that I studied for many years. And I still enjoy consulting the oracle once in a while. And so this represents 64 paintings on paper. I did, they were first study about they're about this big, they're about this big, and I have them all the 64, and those are little photos of each of them. of the 64 hexagram, and so it's standing on an easel, and there is a text of Confucius. It's a romantic text from the 13 hexagram, the 5th line, and it says, life leads the thoughtful man on the path of many windings. Here the course is checked, there it runs straight again. Here the winged thoughts may pour freely forth in words, there the heavy burden of knowledge must be shut away in silence. But when two people are at one in their innermost heart, they shatter even the strength of iron or of bronze. And when two people understand each other in their innermost heart, their words are sweet and strong, like the fragrance of orchids. It's about finding true love and true harmony. It's a really nice painting. It's pretty dynamic. It's a collage. So I'm going to finish with this song. It's a bit revolutionary. I sang the revolutionary song in the French video. I thought I sang one. It's called the Battle Anthem of the Republic. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vantage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has lost the faithful lighting of his terrible sweet sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make man holy, let us live to make man free, as truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. It's really an older song. I remember that from John Bass. But it's not his truth, it's your truth as well. Your truth is marching on. The truth of God is your truth, and just make it yours, and do not forget. It's always has been, always will be here, and as long as you continue to cultivate and seek the harmonization with your higher self, your higher soul, your higher self, will eventually come to integrate and will become fully empowered and will be able to change the world. So already envision this world that you really want. Do not let yourself be moved or shaken up by all the storm that is coming on the horizon. I just wanted to come back and remind us of that. I thank you very much. I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Namaste.